Now, if you've been around the gun community for about 5 minutes, you will know what the 1911 is. The 1911 being a Fudd's wet dream, it is the greatest single handgun ever invented. You know, it won us 2 world wars. Now, what if you took the 1911 and made it Russian? So what is the Tokarev? Well, the Tokarev is essentially a 1911 clone. Russia took a lot of inspiration from the US 1911, and they made some changes to it. The rear end is different for sure, but essentially it works the same. It's a single action auto-loading pistol. It has a single stack magazine. It has 8 rounds instead of 7 like what you have on the original 1911s of the time. The Tokarev was put into service in 1930, and it is essentially a copy of a 1911, albeit a few small changes. Now, this is specifically a Norinco Type 54. So now this is a Type 54, which is an improvement upon the Type 51. I'm not sure what all changed, but the Type 51 is a copy of the original TT-33 Tokarev. Now the reason for this was because the Chinese and the Soviets at the time were involved with manufacturing weapons together. So that's why you see a lot of the Chinese weapons essentially being copies of Russian weapons. Now the Type 54 has seen a lot of use in conflicts around the world, from Vietnam to several civil wars in Southeast Asia, which, go figure, were backed by the United States. That's right, 60 years ago, your grandfather's hard-earned tax dollars were being used to fund overseas conflicts just like your tax dollars are right now. Nothing has changed, except for housing affordability, student loans, and for some people, the inability to not consume pet meat. It reminds me of that vegan billboard where it's like, oh, where do you draw the line on meat consumption? Now, enough of the jokes. Let's talk about the actual bullet. It fires 7.62 by 25 millimeter Tokarev ammo. Now, what you'll notice is that it is a bottlenecked pistol cartridge. Now, with it being a bottlenecked pistol cartridge, you are able to get a bit faster bullet speed compared to, say, 9mm. 9mm will get about 12 to 1300 feet per second, while 7.62 by 25mm Tokarev is going to get about 1300 to 1400 feet per second, so about 100 feet per second faster. However, that's going to change depending on which ammo you are firing. So next we're going to get into the disassembly. Now, this right here is a pain to get off. You're going to have to use a spare round, is what works best, I have found. You just kind of push on the edge of that, and that will let that loose for you to pull all the way back. There we go. So then what you want to do is, since you have that released, you then take your slide lock and release, you pull that out, you then pull the entire slide forward. Now make sure that you're holding pressure right where the spring is about to pop out. Pull it forward, or you can take the slide lock and release, push down, and kind of move this out of the way, and you can kind of catch that spring before it does that. So then you can just pull your slide all the way through. Can remove the spring, and then to remove the barrel you just want to, this thing, it will be up, you'll push it down and you'll grab your barrel, pull it through the slide. And that is the Tokarev disassembled, except I forgot one thing, the hammer. Now, with the Tokarev disassembled, you can definitely see some similarities to the 1911, but there are also some big differences. The hammer assembly comes out in one piece, and also the barrel has two locking lugs that go all around the barrel, while the 1911 just has locking lugs on top of the barrel. Well, that is the Tokarev pistol. Thank you guys for sticking to the end of the video. If you did, leave a like down below and subscribe if you want more of this content. I really like talking about these guns. It's just the history of the Tokarev and, well, the Type 54 and how it relates to the Tokarev and how the Tokarev relates to the 1911 is very interesting. I found that pretty neat. I didn't know that even existed until doing a bit of research into the pistol for this video. So hopefully you guys found it enjoyable. See you next time.